Yes, ma'am, you can start.
Good evening. Happy festivity. This is a time to worship Ma Durga and Mata Mahalakshmi. But we doctors, pediatricians worship Ma Saraswati, and a big uh, namaskar from all of us on this festive season. Our educational academic activity of Journal Journey, which is taken up by Maharashtra IAP for last 4 years, is running very well. And today we are having two interesting topics and very good presenters and experts who are renowned all over India. May I request our Raigad IAP editor and Maharashtra Raigad AHS Secretary Dr. Neha Singh for further proceedings. I invite Dr. Neha.
Thank you, Chitra ma'am. A very good evening and happy Navratri to all the respected dignitaries, my seniors and colleagues. On behalf of Maha-IP and Raigad IIP, I welcome you all today on the 1st of October, our Journal Journey Day. I welcome Maha-IP President Dr. Sanjay Pakmore sir, Secretary General Dr. Amol Pawar sir, State Convener Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh sir, and Dr. Meenakshi sir, Raigad IP President Dr. Vikas More sir, Ajay Kohli sir, Dr. Neeman Mohanty sir, respected Dr. Mahesh Mohite sir, Jay Bhandarkar sir, Chitra Kulkarni ma'am, and all the respected executive board members from Central IP, Maha IP, IP Raigad, as well as other branches. I welcome our esteemed experts of today and the presenters. Now I invite Maha-IP President Dr. Sanjay Pakmore sir to please give his blessings. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chitra madam and Neha. Namaskar. Once again, good evening to the Maha-IP platform. I think this is the 10th journal journey. And the very first day of every month, we start with the journal journey. The beginning is so marvelous, so fantastic. So well begun is half done. So that is the story about this journal journey. So once this program is done on the first, we are getting charged for the next 5 or 6 programs in the month. But for this, how much efforts Raigad branch takes is beyond comparison. I mean, I will tell, means before the beginning of tenure also, these people start working for the first day of the every year. So that's the beauty of this particular journal journey. I had so much rehearsals, and then the topic is chosen and the topic is declared. Thank you to Dr. Niman Mohanty sir, who is so particular and I mean, lot means a role model person for all of us, and all the members of the Raigad branch. They are very active, including the president Vikas and the secretary Ajay. So, good evening, all of you, and I welcome our Maha-IP secretary, dynamic secretary Dr. Amol, and treasurer Dr. Ravindra Sonone, and today's convener Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh and other Maha-IP office bearers and executive board members, as well as the CIP office bearers and the board EB members. And today's expert, Dr. Suchit Tamboli sir. Ahilanagar is known only after Suchit Tamboli sir. As far as my knowledge was concerned, I was thinking Suchit Tamboli sir means Ahilanagar. That was my question. And now I am getting the news that sir is getting the counseling of so many of the people who are joining the medical institutions after appearing for the NEET. Sir is very busy because 2 or 3 people from my place also with the Suchit Tamboli sir. So I understood his sir is doing so much of wonderful work in the adolescence. And and the Smita Jattegaonkar madam, a very close place from our Nagpur. It is MGIMS Sevagram. And both the today's topics are really burning topics. One is that is the nosocomial infections in PICU, and the another one, social media addictions. And I think both the experts and the presenters, Sandeep and
Vaibhav Deshmukh, sir.
Vaibhavs. I means I will wish them all the best for the presentation, and let us hear from both of our experts the special comments during the journey. So once again, thank you all of you, and I wish you a happy Dashara in advance as well as the Gandhi Jayanti tomorrow. And over to you, Neha.
Thank you so much, sir, for your blessings, and always you are supporting us. Now I request Raigad IP President Dr. Vikas More, sir, to invite all the esteemed guests.
Thank you so much, Neha, for giving the opportunity. On the behalf of MyIP and IIP Raigad, I welcome all of you. Especially, I welcome the eminent experts, Dr. Smita Madam and Dr. Suchita Amburi, sir, for giving their precious time for elaborating on these beautiful two presentations by Dr. Vaibhav and Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad. We know this MahaIP is always blessing IIP Raigad for continuing this activity for since few years. And we are blessed with consecutive presidents, and the current president, Dr. Pakamode sir, is always encouraging and always blesses us for all our endeavors. He is eminently assisted by Dr. Amol Pawar, who also helps us in all our activities. Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh sir, we became very good friends in a very short time. Deshmukh sir, thank you for joining today, and bless us like this always. And especially, I'm so privileged that Dr. Suchita Amburi sir took out time today to be an expert. And my very close friend, Dr. Ravindra Sonani, is also here is very encouraging to our branch. Our Dr. Mahesh Moite sir and Dr. Nimam Mohanty sir, the crown jewels of our branch, are always there in our academic activities. I will talk briefly regarding today's two important topics, that is nosocomial infection with PSO, which is a very burning topic. There are multiple reasons. Might be due to the abuse of antibiotics, or sometimes due to the not taking proper precautions in PISU, leading to generation of antibiotic resistance and further problems. Already PISU itself is a very difficult department in our pediatric branch. So most of the pediatricians run away from running a good PISU setup just because of multiple issues. So this presentation may help all of us. Secondly, the problematic social media use is also a burning topic. Very evident in these days, because of many of the adolescents are falling prey to open up their Instagram, Facebook channel, and they are then further getting abused online and offline. So I have personally seen the families have broken in front of my eyes just due to the Instagram abuse by the family. So this will be really helpful for all of us, this session. So kindly give a proper attention and enrich your wisdom. Thank you so much. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Vikas sir. Now I invite our
हिच्याशी follow up
MahaIP
करून ते करून घे ना.
State Convener, Dr. Sanjay
हा,
Deshmukh sir,
हिच्याशी,
to give us blessings. Over to you, sir.
सुप्रियाशी बोलून घे, ती करून घेईल सगळं.
Good evening.
आणि थोडं कारण त्याकडे फाईल ऑलरेडी
Crowded season of festival. We have Super 4 festival. Tomorrow there will be the Dasera, then Dhammachakra Din, and Mahatma Gandhi Jayanti and Lal Bahadur Shastri Jayanti. But still our academic for is continuing on day one of the every month. So hats off to the IIP Raigad branch and MahaIP for continuing this academic legacy. And today it's very happy to have expert Dr. Smita ma'am and presenter Dr. Vaibhav from the Sewagram Institute. Tomorrow is a Mahatma Gandhi Jayanti, and they are representing from the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Medical Science from Sewagram, along with Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad, and Dr. Suchita Amburi sir. The emerging Ahilanagar branch, you have to wait for them. They are making so much of academic always on the MahaIP front. So welcome all, and I'm thankful to Dr. Mohite sir, Dr. Mohanty sir, and let's continue this journey because social media is one of the biggest problem nowadays. I am very eagerly waiting to listen what they want to discuss today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I invite Dr. Chitra Kulkarni, ma'am, to introduce our experts and presenters of today. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. Our esteemed expert, Dr. Suchit Tamboli sir, is a well-known figure in India, and he is a teacher of teachers, I can say, doing such a good work for last so many years. He is editor of textbook of growth and development, behavioral pediatrics, having innovative ideas, and his hospital was first paperless hospital to my knowledge. It is all the rounds and everything is done on the tab. His all staff is very good at that and has set a role model for all of us of our nursing homes, and I highly appreciate that. His chairperson of Government of Maharashtra and Disability Certificate Committee in 2015 and organizing committee member World Pediatric Congress Singapore in 2023. Our second expert is Dr. Smita Jategaonkar. Change of the slide. Yeah, she is professor in Department of Pediatric and Government Medical, Mahatma Gandhi Government Medical College, Sevagram, very enthusiastic teacher, and you can hear her later on. Our second presenter is Dr. Sandeep Gayakwad. He is enthusiastic practitioner and studied from BJ Medical Pune, also having experience from Pune, Ruby Hall, and Sydney, Australia, and working as research officer and lecturer for 2 years in KM Hospital, Pune. He is also actively involved in the local medical college for last so many years. Our first presenter is Dr. Vaibhav Deshmukh, and he is Senior SR MBBS MD Pediatrics and currently working in MGI MS Sevatara.
Central IP Dr.
He is a senior resident. I request Dr. Vaibhav to start his presentation. Yeah, thank you. Doctor, please unmute yourself. Doctor, please unmute. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Vaibhav Pradeeprao Deshmukh, MBBS MD Pediatrics, currently working as senior resident in Department of Pediatrics, MJMS Sevagram. I would like to extend my gratitude to my professor, Dr. Smita Jategaonkar ma'am, for her valuable guidance. So let's start with today's topic of discussion, that is nosocomial infection. Nosocomial infections, also known as hospital-acquired or healthcare-associated infections, which is an alarming problem nowadays worldwide in both developed and developing countries, as multiple harmful organisms floating in and around the hospitals, which leads to the nosocomial infections. So there is a need to study about these nosocomial infections because of its high patient impact and high potential for the prevention. So 1 out of every 31 hospitalized patients are affected by these nosocomial infections. And by using the prevention techniques, we can reduce the nosocomial infections by up to 70%. So let's start with the today's research topic. Clinical title is Clinical Bacteriological Study of Nosocomial Infections in the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, which was authored by the Shivhar Sonone, Vinod Patil, Pranjali Ahir, Sanjay Joshi, and published in Indian Journal of Trauma and Emergency Pediatrics from January to March 2023. We selected this topic particularly because of its high potential for the generalizability, and since this is an Indian study and there is a similarities with our location, vulnerable populations, bacterial flora and sensitivity, antibiotic resistance pattern, and the hospital protocols. So the results of this research may applicable to our study, our situation. So let's start with the introduction. What is a nosocomial infection? Nosocomial infections are the infections acquired in a hospital or the healthcare settings that develop 48 hours or more after admissions or within 30 days after discharge and are not related to patient's original illness. And they are the serious concern because they lead to the increased morbidity, mortality, and the length of hospital stay, adding to the healthcare cost. And the overall incidence of nosocomial infections range from the 2.8% to the 21.6%. So primary aim of this research is to determine the incidence of nosocomial infection, to identify the known risk factors, and to determine the clinical and bacteriological pattern of nosocomial infection in a pediatric intensive care unit. So this is an prospective post-study conducted over a period of 1 year in the 8-bedded PSU, and total 74 suspected cases of nosocomial infections out of 255 total PSU admissions were the participants, and the patients aged between 1 month to 12 years with a PSU stay more than 48 hours were included in this study, and the children who were already suffering from the nosocomial infections were excluded. A wide range of data was collected on the known risk factors like age, anemia, malnutrition, disease severity, and the duration of PSU stay. And to rule out the existing infections, blood and urine cultures were taken at admissions and repeated if infection was suspected. Additional cultures were taken from the catheter tips like peripheral IV line tips, central line tips, urinary catheter tips, and the respiratory samples like tracheostomy tube tips, endotracheal tube tips, aspirate, gastric lavage, and sputums taken. Outcomes of this study were assessed by the comparing the incidence of nosocomial infections, associated risk factors, hospital stay duration, mortality rates between the group with and without the nosocomial infection. Data were analyzed using the GraphQuad Instat software. Chi-square and the Fisher exact test were used for the data analysis, and the p-value less than 0.05 was considered significant. So moving on to the results, table 1 shows the incidence of nosocomial infection by age. So in this study, it is found that overall incidence of the nosocomial infections was 29.01%, in which children less than 2 months more commonly affected by the nosocomial infection with incidence 54.16%, followed by the 2 months to less than 1 years with incidence 27.58%, followed by the old age patients. So more commonly affected are the infants in this study. Table 2 shows the distribution of nosocomial infection by types. So in this study, it is found that bloodstream infections were the most common nosocomial infection with percentage 43.24% and with significant p-value, followed by the urinary tract infection with 32.43%, followed by the pneumonia with 14.86%, followed by the surgical site infections and the combined infections. Table 3 shows the distribution by gender. So males incidence of nosocomial infection, it is found to be more common in males compared to the females, with 64.86% males and 35.13% females were affected by the nosocomial infections. Table 4 shows the growth rates from the various samples. In this study, total 684 samples were analyzed, out of which 93 samples shows the growth, bacterial growth with 13.59% growth rate. And they sent the various samples like blood cultures, urine cultures, like tracheostomy tube tip, endotracheal tube tip sample, and swab cultures from surgical sites. And these slides, this table shows the various growth rate in various samples sent. Like 9.4% growth rate in blood cultures, 29.57% growth rate in urine cultures, 50% growth rate from the samples taken from the tracheostomy tube tips, swab cultures from the surgical sites, and the endotracheal tube tips showed the growth rate of 40.9%. Table 5 shows the culture and sensitivity pattern. So in this study, E. coli was the most common isolate, which was most sensitive to the amikacin, acid, followed by the Klebsiella, which was most sensitive to the piperacillin and the piperacillin tazobacter, followed by Pseudomonas, which was most sensitive to the Cifoperazone, followed by the Staphylococcus, which was most sensitive to the vancomycin. So this study shows the growth of mainly the gram-negative organisms, and the only gram-positive organism was the Staphylococcus aureus. So most of them are sensitive to the antibiotic we commonly use in our routine practice, which is a favorable result. But nowadays, because of overuse and the misuse of the antibiotics by the practitioners, is often resulting in a multi-drug resistance. So there is need, there is need to study about the nosocomial infections, and it became important for all of us to follow the antibiotic stewardship program guidelines to guide the empiric therapy and to control the nosocomial infections. So table 6 shows the risk factor association with the nosocomial infection. So incidence of nosocomial infection is 2.72 times higher in the malnourished child, 2.56 times higher in the immunocompromised child or the child who receives steroid for the more than 2 weeks, and the 3 times more in the child with the congenital disorder. Table 7 shows the overall outcome. So despite being the higher rate of morbidity of nosocomial infection, in this study, it is found that it is found there is no difference in the mortality rate in the group with nosocomial infection and the without nosocomial infection. So mortality rate in patient with nosocomial infection was 6.75%, and those without nosocomial infection was 11.6%. So let's come to the discussion. Overall incidence of nosocomial infection was 29%, and there is a higher incidence of nosocomial infection was in infants less than 2 months. The risk of nosocomial infection is directly linked to the duration of hospital stay, and nosocomial infections were more common in males than females. Bloodstream infection were the most common nosocomial infection found, and followed by the urinary tract infection. Bloodstream infections more frequently found in the males, and the urinary tract infections more frequently found in females. And there is strong association of nosocomial infection with malnutrition, immunocompromised states, and the congenital anomalies. Steroid therapy used more than 2 weeks increases the susceptibility to the nosocomial infection. Longer duration of invasive devices significantly raises the infection risk. E. coli was the most common isolate, followed by the Klebsiella. And the nosocomial infection prolonged the PICU stay, which average stay was 7.95 days compared to the 4.63 days with group without nosocomial infection, which latter increases the morbidity and the resource burden. And in this study, it is found that there is no significant difference in the mortality between the nosocomial infection and the group without nosocomial infection. So let's come to the strengths of this study. We use the critical appraisal skill program checklist to criticize this study. And so according to this checklist, the strengths of study are: it is an prospective study design, because prospective study design is much more better than the retrospective study design, as it provides the better control over the data collection and reduces the chances of the recall bias. In this study, they mention the clear diagnostic criteria based on the Center of Disease Control and the Prevention guidelines. So standardization enhances the reliability of this study. And comprehensive data collection. And this study collected wide range of data, including the clinical and bacteriological profile, incidence, risk factor, and the outcome like morbidity and the duration of hospital stay. In this study, researchers evaluate the multiple risk factors at a time, and also mentioned about the organism-wise antibiotic sensitivity data, which helps us to guide the empiric therapy. And the researchers also focus on the clinical outcomes like the mortality rates and the duration of hospital stay. Limitations of this study, as it is a single center study, which limits its generalizability, small sample size, because only 74 suspected cases of nosocomial infections are included in this study, and as large sample size increases the statistical power. So this is the limitation of this study. Limited scope, as researchers only mention about the bacterial causes of the nosocomial infection in this study, but did not rule out the other causes of the nosocomial infections like the fungus or virus. And there is potential observer bias, as in this study, in methodology, they does not mention that the professional who assessing the data or risk factors were blinded for the potential outcomes or not. So which increases the observer bias. And there is potential confounding factor that in every critical ill patients, we can't comment that the death of the patient is due to underlying disease or due to the nosocomial infection. And there is no long-term follow-up. On the basis of their definitions, they in methodology, they did not mention, describe that how or if they actively follow the taken the follow-up of patients or not. So these are the limitations of this study. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank you
for your
so much.
kindly attention.
Thank you, Dr. Vaibhav. It was a very nice presentation, to the point. Now, may I invite expert Dr. Smita for her comments. Smita, ma'am. You can start her presentation, Dr. Vaibhav.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, one and all. Actually, hospital is a place where patient is advocated to get cured from the disease, but what if it is the site of leading serious life-threatening infections? So hospital-acquired infection, it is a preventable harm in healthcare settings. So we are here discussing this topic today. As Dr. Vaibhav has clearly elucidated in detail about this one particular study and included various risk factors at an individual level, that is an age, sex, and comorbid conditions. But there are other socio-economic status, duration of the hospital stay, prolonged use of the catheters, tubes, central lines, ventilators, recurrent repeated procedures, hospital cleanliness, the standards, bed to nurse ratio, so etc., public-private sector. So various factors in combination increases the risk of hospital-acquired infection. So coming to the various studies which have been published recently, these are the few articles which have been published in index journals from various parts of the India about hospital-acquired infections. So if we see that there is a hospital-acquired infection due to carbapenem-resistant Providencia stewarti. So this is a bug which have been observed when there is a prolonged hospital stay, that is a more than 20 days. Then the another one is a catheter-associated urinary tract infection and overview. So this is also one more study highlights the importance of the COTI as a hospital-acquired infection, where the incidence was found as a 40%. And as we all know that the catheters increases the colonization and the biofilm formation production. So there is an increased risk. Now the third article, that is a hospital-acquired infection in an adult intensive care unit. So this was published by Dr. Zirpe and et al. In Pune, that is a Ruby Hall Clinic. And it is a recently published article, the similar study, but they have done this particular study in adult PICU, and the similar results have been found. So in this study, they have mentioned that the Acinetobacter baumannii as a major culprit in patients with the VAP, and also the E. coli is also one of the major culprit they have found. So almost it is a similar organisms they have detected, and nowadays Similarly, that there is a structural risk factors for the hospital-acquired infections in intensive care unit by Sai Saran from the UP. And there are various articles who are looking at the pattern and impact of the structure of the hospitals and its outlook. So that is also an important thing. So these are the recent articles, but I want to say that this particular article is a unique in that this is a study done in PICU. So it is a pediatric intensive care unit, and that's why it is an important one.
Yeah.
So similarly, even our IAP Child India April 2023 issue has also conveyed an alarming problem. So we all know that hospital-acquired infections are of these types, and we are really facing those culprits every day. And the most common organisms in this particular study is also gram-negative, and the various other studies also they have reported the gram-negative organisms. In this study, author was very fortunate to have the susceptibility pattern, and the majority of the organisms were sensitive to amikacin and the carbapenem and also piperacillin tazobactam. But we really face the challenge when we grow a bug which is resistant to almost all, and what next is a big question to us. So the most important thing is, as we know, prevention is always better than the cure. So these are various strategies we should all implement to prevent the healthcare associated infections. So the most important is we start from the safety culture. So it is individual to the teamwork. So everybody should try to inculcate the safety culture. We should follow the guidelines. There are guidelines which are being led by the CDC. Also, there are guidelines by the even Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and also the each hospital nowadays they have the infection prevention control committee. So we should follow the strict guidelines. We should screen and cohort the patients like we do a death audit. We can do the audit of nosocomial infections every day, so that we should know what is an exact prevalence and the measures to reduce them. The most important one is the hand hygiene. We feel it is very simple, but I believe every time we also found that this is the most important thing which is not followed. And there are again recent articles which say even if we follow the hand hygiene strictly, then that also reduces the risk of nosocomial infection to a significant level. And the most important, we should update ourselves. So I really thank Madam, because this was an opportunity for me also to update my knowledge about the hospital-acquired infection. So there are various publications, even IAP fellows, they are writing about it because it's a really serious issue. And the last but not the least, we should be aware about the care bundles. So there are these care bundles are the sets of evidence-based practices. When implemented collectively, they improve the health outcome and they improve the quality of care. So as example, it is a VAP prevention bundle. So similarly, we have the central line insertion bundles, maintenance bundles, COTI bundles, so and the PICU liberation bundles. So these bundles extensively if we implement, then definitely we will be able to reduce the risk of the preventive healthcare associated infections. So really nowadays the battle, I think it is a constant thing. We say the battle between the Durga as a Shakti and the Mahishasur as a various emerging problems is a continuous process. So if we say hospital-acquired infection is one of the Mahishasur, so the next we are going to see it's a high springtime. So nowadays in a pediatric population, again that is a big Mahishasur is coming, and really if we want to win this battle, then we all should work together, because we have only two hands and we need more hands here to win this particular battle. So really I'm thankful to everyone, Dr. Chitra Madam to give me this opportunity, entire team IAP, and definitely my HOD Dr. Manish Jain sir to give me the support, and really thank you very much and happy Dasara to all. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Smita Zategaonkar, madam. And you have done a new trend setting of sharing your PPT as an expert also, and that had given a valuable inputs along, and the impact of your speech has increased fourfold because of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we
Thank you,
move
ma'am.
on to
Thank
our next speaker, Dr. Sandeep Gayakwad. Will you please start your presentation? Please unmute, Dr. Sandeep. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we make it full screen?
Good evening, everyone, my seniors and colleagues. At the outset, I would like to thank our expert and guides, Dr. Tamboli sir, Dr. Mohanty sir, Smita ma'am, Dr. Chitra ma'am, and Team MAIP to give me an opportunity to talk today. So today's topic is very hot topic, and it's increasingly recognized in pediatric population. The reference here is from Pediatric Clinics of North America, which provides a structured overview of the epidemiology, neurobiology, addictive features, and clinical management of this issue. So this is going to help for everyone. So this overview slide outlines the scope of my presentation. I make it clear that we are focusing on clinical aspects like prevalence data, addictive features, neurobiology, and so on. The aim is not just to understand the science, but to take home actionable strategies that can be applied in clinical pediatric practice. So key clinical points. Here I highlight the most important clinical takeaways upfront. Social media platforms are deliberately engineered for engagement, which gives them addictive potential. Problematic use mirrors substance and behavioral addictions in its clinical features. Early onset of use increases lifetime psychosocial burden. Evidence supports interventions such as cognitive behavioral therapy, abstinence periods, and family therapy. Finally, pediatric practice should include routine screening for problematic social media use. I usually say here and stress to the audience, if you remember only these 5 things, then let them be these. Next slide provides the global context. Social media is now an ubiquitous tool for communication, education, and entertainment, with nearly 4.9 billion global users as of 2023, and the trend is rising. In that, adolescents are disproportionately affected because of their developmental stage. The pandemic further accelerated device adoption, leading to habitual use patterns. As pediatrician, the clinical concern is that children and adolescents are developmentally vulnerable to habit formation. I would use a case here. For example, a 12-year-old who began with casual use during the pandemic, COVID pandemic, and later developed compulsive late night use affecting sleep and school. This helps us connect statistic to real patients. So what do you mean by problematic social media use? This slide defines what we mean by problematic social media use. It refers to use that negatively affects personal, interpersonal, academic, or professional aspects of life. In children, this often manifests as excessive use that interferes with schoolwork, sleep, or family relationship. PSMU is increasingly being understood within the broader spectrum of behavioral addictions, which also includes gambling, compulsive eating, excessive exercise, or gaming. I would highlight that adolescence is a particularly vulnerable stage, given it is already a period of risk-taking behavior. Earlier onset of problematic social media use is associated with more severe psychological problems or psychosocial problems, and even higher rates of substance abuse later in adulthood. This point is crucial. Early detection and intervention can prevent long-term harm. So we'll come to the definition and diagnostic consideration. Here I explain the ongoing debate in terminology. Some prefer the term problematic social media use, that is PSMA, while others describe it as a social media addiction. DSM-5 currently lists internet gaming disorder, but not social media addiction, though the discussion is ongoing. We introduced Griffith's component model of behavioral addiction, which includes features like salience, mood modification, tolerance, withdrawal, conflict, and relapse. I emphasize that what matters clinically is functional impairment. If the child's academic performance, sleep, or social functioning is suffering, then we should consider intervention in such kids. Validated tools such as Bergen Social Media Addiction Scale or the Social Media Disorder Scale can be mentioned as a practical aids for clinicians. So what are these addictive platforms? This slide highlights how the design of those addictive platforms themselves makes addictive. The first is endless scrolling and streaming creates a flow state and distort time perception. Intermittent reinforcement like unpredictable likes, shares, or content drops works just like a slot machine and keeping user hooked. Short form content such as Reels or TikToks provides instant gratification which strongly conditions reward seeking behavior. Algorithms, which we see on Facebook, further amplify this by personalizing content to individual users, creating powerful reward predictive cues. Finally, mere exposure effect makes users more attached the more they engage. I would often say here, it is not just children being weak-willed, the platforms are engineered to maximize engagement. So this slide goes more deeper into the social aspects. Likes, shares, retweets, and reactions stimulate the ventral striatum, a brain area linked to reward. Features such as streaks in Snapchat or read receipts in WhatsApp create a social pressures compelling daily use. And that's why they get addicted. Geolocated or interest-based apps increase the salience of social ties, making them harder to ignore. Importantly, passive use, that is scrolling without engagement, has different psychological effects as compared to active use, means posting and interacting. This heterogeneity means not all platforms and not all types of use carry equal risk. I often bring here a small case. A 15-year-old girl checked her WhatsApp every few minutes because she feared of her offending friends if she did not reply instantly. This constant vigilance is hallmark of a problematic social media use. So this slide presents prevalence data. Meta-analysis estimate a global pooled prevalence of around 18%, with some studies reporting rates from 0 to 82%, depending on definitions and thresholds. COVID-19 accelerated this trend significantly as children relied more heavily on devices. Surveys reveal that 36% of adolescents report spending too much time on social media, while 54% admit they would find it difficult to give it up. Notably, girls report greater difficulty, nearly 58% in some surveys, highlighting a gender differences in vulnerability. This is good point to stress here. When half of adolescents say they cannot give up social media, we are clearly dealing with more than just a passing hobby. And that can be shown, the same thing can be shown in charts. This slide explains how much time children and adolescents are spending on social media and how usage evolves with age. Average teen social media use is reported to be nearly 4.8 hours per day in some surveys. Younger children, even preschoolers, are increasingly exposed to tablets and smartphones, particularly after the COVID-19 pandemic. Adolescence marks the shift from television as the primary screen to smartphone as the dominant medium. Ownership and access rise steeply in early teens. By the age of 13 or 14, most adolescents have their own device nowadays. This shift matters because personal ownership means less parental oversight and more opportunities for unsupervised use. I would often emphasize here, in clinical practice, asking when a child got their first personal device is almost as important as asking about vaccination history because it directly correlates with exposure risk. This slide introduces the neurobiological underpinnings of problematic social media use. Dopamine, the key neurotransmitter for reward-guided behavior, plays a central role. Adolescence is a period of heightened dopaminergic activity, making teens more sensitive to rewards. Problematic social media use has been linked to ventral striatum hyperresponsivity to social media cues, such as notification and likes. Structural and functional changes in the brain's reward circuitry have also been documented. Importantly, altered connectivity has been observed in corticostrial and default mode networks. I stress here that While correlation does not prove causation, the convergence of evidence suggests that social media overuse is not just a behavioral pattern, but it is underpinned by measurable brain changes also. This slide goes more deeper into neuroimaging findings. Studies have reported reduced volumes in key brain regions such as ventral striatum, amygdala, and parts of the cortex in individuals with problematic social media use. On the other hand, increased activity has been noted in the precuneus and ventral striatum when exposed to social media cues. White matter alterations, including reduced integrity of the corpus callosum and abnormal connectivity in the dorsal attention network, have also been observed. The evidence is still heterogeneous, but the message here is clear. Problematic social media use is associated with real, measurable brain changes. This helps counter the argument that PSME is merely a matter of weak self-control. And then we'll see how PSMU and what is the psychiatric comorbidity. This slide connects PSMU with mental health outcomes. Moderate associations have been documented with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, poor sleep, and body image concerns. These associations are stronger in female adolescents and in those with early onset of use. Adolescents with ADHD symptoms have significant elevated risk of PSMU, and PSMU often coexist with other behavioral addictions like gaming or gambling. Importantly, suicidality has been reported in severe cases, underscoring the need for vigilance. Here, I would like to say, when a teen presents with mood symptoms, anxiety, or poor sleep, do not forget to ask about social media use. It might be a missing piece of the puzzle. This slide focuses on one of the most direct and clinically relevant consequences of social media use, that is sleep disturbance. Nighttime use leads to delayed sleep onset, poor sleep quality, and circadian misalignment. The combined effects of blue light exposure and cognitive arousal perpetuate insomnia. Sleep loss in turn mediates deficits in attention, academic performance, and mood regulation. In clinical practice, parents often report children falling asleep with their phone in hand. I usually give an example of a case. A 12-year-old boy I saw had chronic irritability and declining grades in school. His parent discovered he was secretly using his phone past midnight. Once the device was removed from the bedroom, his sleep and behavior improved within weeks. This highlights how a simple intervention like device-free sleep time can make a big difference. This slide highlights how excessive social media use impacts cognition and academic outcomes. High level of digital multitasking are linked to reduced sustained attention. Children who frequently switch between apps or tabs struggle with working memory and executive function. Meta-analysis shows small but consistent negative effects on academic performance. Recreational social media use frequently displaces study time, leading to poor outcomes. However, I emphasize here that not all screen use is harmful. High quality educational content and supervised digital learning can mitigate the risk. In practice, we should often ask parents, when your child is online, are they consuming or creating? Are they studying or scrolling endlessly? This helps reframe the conversation from banning devices to managing quality of use. This slide focuses on externalizing behaviors seen in problematic social media use. Increased irritability and aggression are commonly reported, often triggered by withdrawal of device or parental restrictions. Impulsivity and poor inhibitory control are frequently observed in children with PSMU. Severe cases may involve school avoidance, absenteeism, or even dropping out. Social withdrawal and preferences for online interactions replace healthy peer relationship. These behavioral patterns sometimes mimic impulse control disorders. I highlight here that parents often misinterpret these symptoms as simply bad behavior, but as clinicians, we must recognize the underlying addiction-like processes driving them. On this slide, we shift to internalizing symptoms. Many children with PSMA presents with low mood, depressive symptoms, or heightened social comparison. Body image concerns are particularly common in adolescents who spend long hours on visual platforms such as Instagram or TikTok. Anxiety, especially social anxiety and FOMO, drives compulsive checking behaviors. The paradox of loneliness is also striking. Despite more online connections, children often report feeling more isolated. In vulnerable adolescents, PSMU can contribute to self-harm or suicidal ideation. This is where I want to stress, always probe gently about social media when assessing mood, anxiety, or self-harm risk in teens. The connection is stronger than many parents realize. In this slide, we address one of the most distressing consequences of social media, that is cyberbullying. Online harassment has been shown to correlate strongly with depression, self-harm, and suicidality. Female adolescents in particular are more vulnerable to self-harm victimization. The psychological distress caused by online harassment often lasts longer than face-to-face bullying because digital abuse follows the child into their home environment. And the reporting, blocking, or school-based anti-bullying policies are essential protective measures. I often want to say here, clinicians should always screen for peer victimization online, not just offline. A teenager who appears suddenly withdrawn may be experiencing invisible digital bullying. So what are the clinical red flags in general when you are sitting in OPD? Loss of interest in offline hobbies, lying about screen time, withdrawal symptoms when restricted, continued use despite negative consequences, and sleep deprivation and mood swings of any adolescent or child. If comorbid depression, aggression, or suicidality is present, then it is a red flag for urgent referral. Now we'll come to the assessment part. This slide outlines how pediatrician can incorporate social media assessment into routine practice. Start by including simple questions about social media habits during history taking. Use validated tools, as earlier I mentioned, like Bergen Social Media Addiction Scale or the Social Media Disorder Scale for structured evaluation. Assessment should focus on functional impairment, ask whether schoolwork, sleep, or peer relationships are being affected. Screening for comorbid psychiatric symptoms, especially mood disorders and ADHD, is essential. Sleep assessments and screen time diaries can provide valuable objective data. I emphasize here, if you don't ask, you don't know. Social media use should be standard part of pediatric psychosocial history, just like sleep, diet, or school performance. So what are the limitations of current research that we have? This slide acknowledges the gaps in our current knowledge. Terminology is inconsistent. Some researchers call it problematic social media use, others call it addiction, making studies hard to compare. Many studies focus only on single platforms such as Facebook, which limits generalizability. Most research is cross-sectional, so we cannot always infer causality. Longitudinal studies are still sparse. Furthermore, diagnostic thresholds vary, with some scales labeling mild overuse as a problematic. Cultural and methodological heterogeneity also limit the ability to apply findings universally. Here I would like to say this is rapidly evolving field, and while evidence is growing, we must be cautious about over-pathologizing normal use. Our focus should be on impairment and risk, not just time spent. So we'll see the therapeutic evidence. This slide introduces the treatment landscape. Several interventions have been tried. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, motivational interviewing, and family therapy have been shown promise in the treatment. Abstinence or reduction trials have showed mixed outcomes, with some children improving and others showing no significant change. CBT-based approaches appear most consistent in improving symptoms such as anxiety, mood, and compulsive checking. For severe cases, a combined psychosocial and pharmacological approach may be needed. There is no single magic pill. The best outcomes come from a tailored multimodal strategy that includes behavioral therapy, family involvement, and lifestyle structuring.
Doctor, you have to wind up a little faster because
Yes, ma'am.
expert also has to speak.
So in abstinence and reduction trials, this slide highlights studies where children were asked to take breaks from social media. Short breaks from few days to week sometimes improved mood, attention, and sleep. And however, results were mixed. Some children substitute other forms of technology, such as gaming, limiting the benefit. Outcome also depends on whether child was passive scroller or an active poster. The two groups experience substance differently. Then cognitive behavioral approaches. This slide extends on CBT as the most effective intervention. CBT helps children recognize maladaptive thought patterns, such as comparing themselves constantly with peers and restructure them. Behavioral strategies include self-monitoring, stimulus control. Daily diaries and reflection exercises have been shown to reduce severity of PSMA. I usually share a case here. In one family, the teen and parents agreed on media contract, no phones at meals and no devices after 10 p.m. With structured CBT support, compliance improved, and within weeks, both sleep and mood stabilized. Then we'll see briefly upon pharmacological adjuncts. This slide discusses pharmacological options which are limited and still experimental. Small trials have explored bupropion and escitalopram with some benefits, mainly in comorbid depression. Stimulants like methylphenidate may help when ADHD is present. Medications should only be considered when there is comorbidity such as depression and anxiety. So there are some family-based interventions. Parental modeling is one of the strongest protective factor. Children mirror the digital habits of their parents. Family media plans where rules about screen-free times and zones are agreed upon are very effective. Delaying smartphone acquisition is another key factor. Study shows that children who receive personal devices later are less likely to develop problematic use. Structured routines such as consistent bedtimes and screen-free meals provide natural barriers against worries. There are some school and community strategies like school policies to limit in-class phone use, reduce distraction, digital citizenship curriculum, promote critical appraisal skills, community public health campaigns can raise awareness, and school parent partnership will reinforce custodial limits. Public policy and regulations, age-appropriate design codes and platforms, regulatory measure face enforcement and technological hurdles, etc. And overall, in this picture, we can see the intervention modalities of CBT with family therapy, abstinence reduction, pharmacotherapy. I would just want to say a case here. This slide uses a real-world style case to bring the discussion to life. A 15-year-old boy presents with declining grades, irritability, and poor sleep. On history, he spends more than 6 hours daily on social media, mostly late at night. His parents report frequent conflicts when they try to restrict his phone use. This case illustrates the classic triad of PSMU: impaired academics, disturbed sleep, and interpersonal conflict. It also highlights how families often first interpret the problem as discipline issues, when in reality it reflects an addictive pattern. And there is a clinical management pathway. We can see primary care screening, brief intervention, referral as needed, use motivational interviewing to elicit behavioral change, CBT and family therapy for moderate and severe cases as we discussed. Universal recommendation for prevention, structure, schedule, sleep hygiene. We should explain exercise promotion, encourage offline socialization and extracurricular engagement, limit news and overexposure, practice curated information diets, self-monitoring and device locks as behavioral tools, and our pediatric anticipatory guidance on healthy SM acquisition. We should also give a digital literacy and combine approach and research gaps. So I would go in this slide regarding practical tips for clinicians. This slide offers pragmatic guidance for frontline clinician managing children exposed to excessive social media. Incorporating brief validated screening questions during well-child visits facilitates early detection of PSMU. Collaborative development of individual family media plans promotes shared accountability and behavioral consistency. And refer to child psychiatry when functional impairment seems to be very severe or associated with comorbidity. Incorporate sleep and activity goals in treatment plans, and document SM-related functional impacts in medical record.
Thank you.
So take
Thank
home
you.
messages. Problematic social media use is real and clinically significant. It shares features with behavioral addictions. The most vulnerable are adolescents, especially girls and those with ADHD or mood disorders. Effective interventions include CBT, family therapy, and structured routines. Prevention and anticipatory guidance remains the best strategies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this good, very nice, elaborative presentation, Dr. Sandeep. And it shows that you are so much involved in this topic. We are really grateful to you. May I request our expert, renowned expert, Dr. Suchit Tamboli, sir, to start his presentation as an expert. Sir, please unmute.
Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the most important point which I am going to highlight is that our IIP's guidelines. So that they are very important and they are very useful also. So the most important point usually you can come to notice in your OPD is that even 6 months or 1 year child is there and that mother is saying with proud that my child can do the this mobile very nicely and he's looking into that and changing the songs and all. So, but this is not at all allowed. That is very important. So below 2 years, no exposure to any screen. So that is very important, and screen media is not to be used to facilitate feeding. बहुतेक आया काय म्हणतात, अहो तो ते मोबाईल दाखवल्याशिवाय जेवतच नाही. हा अतिशय कॉमन प्रॉब्लेम आहे. आणि मग त्याच्यामध्ये आपल्याला लक्षात येतं की अरे त्यांना मी म्हणतो की तुमच्या लहानपणी तुम्हाला मोबाईल होता का? तरी तुमची आई सांगायची की हा घास चिवचा, तो घास खाऊचा आणि तुम्ही जेवायचे. मग तसंच या मुलाला पण तुम्ही करायला लागा. अजिबात असं करू नका की त्या मोबाईल दाखवल्याशिवाय जेवायचं नाही. सो ते यू हॅव टू व्हेरी फर्म अबाउट दॅट की यू शुड टेल देम दॅट do not use screen media for facilitating feeding. Actually, the screen time should not be considered as any option to calm crying or distressed child. मी त्यांना सांगतो की तुम्हाला तो रडायला लागल्यानंतर तुम्ही देता म्हणजे तुम्ही एखाद्याला दारू पाजून झोपवण्यासारखं येते आणि दारूचे इतकंच ते व्यसन वाईट आहे आणि त्याच्यामुळे तुम्ही या गोष्टी अजिबात दिल्या नाही पाहिजे. सो फॅमिलीज अवॉइड इन्सिडेंटल एक्सपोजर and avoid watching screen while engaging child or in same room. So parents ensure and prevent screen exposure in their absence and parents involve child in physical activity. आता मोबाईल नाही द्यायचा तर काय करायचं हा अतिशय महत्वाचा मुद्दा आहे आणि तोच पालकांना सांगितला गेला पाहिजे. तो सर्वात महत्वाचा आहे की त्याला डान्स आहे, टॉयज आहे, स्टोरी टेलिंग आहे, म्युझिक आहे, ह्या अल्टरनेटिव्ह द्यायला पाहिजेत. ते फार महत्वाचे आहेत आणि ते पेडियाट्रिशियननी सांगितले गेले पाहिजे. सो मिनिमल ऑर ऑकेजनल यूज ऑफ स्क्रीन फॉर social interaction with the distant family members also. Then for 2 to 5 years, limit screen up to 1 hour per day. That too, actually, for 2 to 5 years, only 5 days a week we can go for that, and only one screen at a time. No media multitasking. की मग आम्ही ना असं करतो की ते मोबाईल 1 तास, मग लॅपटॉप अर्धा तास आणि टीव्ही 2 तास. Most important thing to remember is that till age of 6 years, they don't have any idea about what is the media. So for media education, you have 6 years in your hand, and for that you must actually implement this media education to your child. So that we will see later on. So only one screen at a time is important. Supervised screen time, which is very, very important. म्हणजे बऱ्याचदा काय होतं की त्या मुलाला 4 वर्षाच्या मुलाला वाटतं अरे ते मस्त तो मोटरसायकलवरून आला आणि तो आता चाकू काढून त्याला मारतोय म्हणजे किती भारी. पण त्याची आई जर तिथं बसली असेल आणि ती म्हणेल की अरे असं केलं तर आयुष्यभर सगळ्या तुरुंगात जाशील, असं सांगितल्यानंतर त्याला कधीच त्याचं आकर्षण नाही वाटणार. सो हे इट इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट दॅट स्क्रीन टाइम शुड बी सुपरवाइज्ड बाय द केअरटेकर. म्हणजे आपल्याला बेसिकली वेदर यू आर युझिंग मीडिया ॲज अ थर्ड पेरेंट or you are using as a servant is very important point, and that you must keep in mind. So caregivers should ensure about media content which are watched. They are either educational or age appropriate or not, non-violent, healthy, interactive. That is very important. So no screen media should be actually meal 1 hour before or sleep during travel also. So there should be media free time is very important. Children should have 3 hours of physical activity, which is again very important. So 5 to 10 years, limit screen time to less than 2 hours. So the lesser is the better. And main purpose is education, learning, or social interaction, because nowadays school are also going online, so they you have to give that time. So that is very important that you should ask them to use media properly, which is very important. Means actually आपण काय हे फेकून देऊ शकत नाही की आता आपण इंटरनेट वापरायचंच नाही, मोबाईल फेकून द्या घरातून, असं काही करू शकणार नाहीये. मग तो वापरायचा कसा हे शिकवलं पाहिजे. दॅट इज मोर इम्पॉर्टंट. सो पेरेंटल मॉनिटरिंग इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. अवॉइड स्क्रीन टू बिकम बोर्डम, टू ओव्हरकम बोर्डम. काही नाही, कंटाळा आला, घे बाबा, चल रडायला लागला, घे. सो दॅट शुड नॉट बी द वे. And device used by child should belong to one of the parent. Restrict access to TV or computer. Co-viewing is very important, and content is very important. So screen time must not replace study time or play time or sleep time or family time. That is very important. So sleep time 9 to 12 hours, physical activity for 1 hour is very important. Then IIP guidelines for 10 to 18 years. Balance screen time with other activities, that is meal time or school work. Educate about healthy use of screen devices, which is rational use, and monitor media used by adolescents. So violent and undesirable content should not be actually allowed for them to take. Actually, Australia has banned social media up to 16 years, which is a very bold step. And we also should go on, not at least banning, but we should go for the media education, which is more important rather than banning the thing, because banning will not be helpful, as this is my opinion, because then they will have another way. So that is abnormal, and that should not be done. But only thing is that how it is to be used is very important. So parents role model to promote digital wellness and limit the screen time, and sleep hours should be 8 to 9 hours. So IIP guidelines very important. 0 to 2 years, 2 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, and 10 to 18 years, what we have seen, must be obeyed. And for healthy media use, ensure warm, nurturing, supportive home environment. Screen switched off 1 hour before bedtime. That is very important, because blue light suppresses melatonin necessary for the healthy sleep. And adopt correct posture while sitting in front of computer. So follow 20-20-20 rule. So to reduce dryness and eye strain. Avoid multitasking, violent content, mark digital free zone, and bedroom or dining table or kitchen, bathroom, vehicles. So that should be digital free zone. Decide digital fasting time. So that is again very important, daily or weekends. So consider applying some rules, and in both play with your child, teach kindness, be involved. And the quality of media is very important, more important than the type of technology or amount of the time spent. So actually, to ensure quality screen, preview programs and games and apps before allowing. Seek out interactive options. Use parental control. Supervise his activities. Ask your child regularly what programs and games she's played with during the day, and discuss what you are watching, and educate him or her about advertising and commercials, because they are not actually telling the truth. That is very important. So how can I motivate my child? This is IIP's recommendation. So ensure a warm, nurturing, supportive, fun-filled, and secure environment at home. Balance screen time. Correct posture to be adopted. Rule of 20-20-20. Avoid multitasking, and keep child safe by co-viewing and monitoring the online content and interaction. So this is the way child should sit while looking into the laptop, and that is very important. Then 20-20-20 rule. So it is that every 20 minutes take a break for 20 seconds and look at the object which is 20 feet away. So that is very important. So encourage use of media for educational purpose. Mark digital free zone, which I have already told. Decide upon a digital fasting we have discussed, and we should have a role model for healthy media use. So that is very important. So digital detox routine, then family workplace screen guidelines are important, and emphasis on the self-discipline and awareness. So hybrid approach, that is practical as well as idealistic, is important. And screen control isn't about the total elimination. We are not saying that don't show them, but combine technological solution plus human effort, and need a mix of awareness, tools, habits, and support. So practical when we aim for the balance and not for the perfection, which is again very important. So I think this is very important that we should be very clear about how to use the media, and media education should be our policy, because policy maker have done the work, but we are not implementing that, and we should start implementing. We should start taking media history, which is again very important, which point which Sandeep has told. So I think this is all that I want to say regarding the thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sujit Tambori, sir. You have like told all the nuances of recent problem, and to add to that, our AI is again next challenge for this generation as well. So
Yes.
the forum is open for discussion, and first we will discuss about sepsis. Any experts? I could see both the experts, Dr. Sanjay and both Dr. Sanjay and Dr. Mahesh Mohite, sir. Your comments, sir?
Yeah. Can I make comment on the
Yes,
first thing? Yeah. Actually, it was very nicely presented by Dr. Vaibhav and subsequently very nicely covered up. Actually, that presentation by Dr. Smita Madam was really good. About the paper per se, I was noting down certain numbers in my notes. So I saw all the samples collected predominantly, I mean, blood culture, some 265 odd samples were collected from the numbers, and only 9.4 came positive. Actually, that is the true evidence of infection. Rest all, like urine was 30%, Foley's catheter was 30%, endotracheal tube was 40%, swabs from various sources of 50%. In a today's science, they are taken as a relative kind of evidence of infection, or many times commensals. So I'll give a simple example, like tracheal aspirate, how seriously we take it as positive. Or you mentioned about the catheter tip cultures positivity. So if there is a evidence of infection clinically, on that background, you collected catheter tip, and that comes positive along with blood culture positivity collected from other source, then only it is taken as infection confirmed. Just catheter tip really doesn't mean. I mean, in fact, if you see the latest recent publication is there, I suppose, in May 2025, where the correlate of these cultures was done with blood cultures, and there's totally kind of something which is not taken by CDC now, the catheter or tracheal aspirate. So I think that is one lapse I found in that particular study. The details of the clinical background on which that particular sample of those samples were taken was not given. So unless there is a reason to collect a sample, and then a clinical reason to collect a sample, that infection was defined, and on that background you collected a tracheal aspirate, that too tracheal aspirate, I'm sure Smita Madam will agree with me that are huge limitation to interpret that. You need to have a certain more than 10 raised to 6 organisms. So many times I've seen the organism of Pseudomonas with 10,000 or something. Actually, that's not to be regarded. So those are the limitations I found there. Again, a single center study is the biggest limitation, because it becomes more like a kind of a limited data. This being such a vast topic, ideally, Indian scenario, we should have at least 100 centers contributing to that, making at least few thousand or maybe 20, 30,000 cases, and deal with a very stringent protocols. But nevertheless, Dr. Vaibhav, you presented with amazing confidence. It was really a very nice presentation, a good eye opener to the whole mass of pediatricians, which give a good information. And Dr. Smita Madam, you have really given that subsequent part, which was very educative. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
The second topic, I'm not at all an expert. There are two brilliant experts I heard. One thing I wanted to ask Dr. Sujit sir, such a big uproar of this problem. But post-COVID, all schools, most of them are still giving the homework on the mobile or on the media, right? Now, that is the reason why students are, we cannot say that stop that mobile. They have to be given that mobile for half an hour, 1 hour, and when the mother gives to half an hour, 1 hour. Yesterday only I saw the child where the mother don't know the password and child know the password. She's using that smartphone. Mother says, I have to give it to him to open it because he remembers I can't. And she don't know about this. So first, I think, is there any regulatory pressure IIT can make on the government? Because I think Scandinavian countries, I suppose Sweden has already banned the mobile use or any media use in the educative field. Up to I think some primary school, they have banned it totally. You cannot use it. So same kind of thing pressure can IIP put on the regulatory authority in the best interest of the child. Dr. Pakpode sir is there, Maharashtra IIP president. I'm sure he can take it to CIP as well. I think that's very important to stop it. It should be officially banned from the school. I mean, before COVID, even now, you're never doing it. So don't say that we don't know how to do it. We very well know how to do it. Okay. I mean, nowadays they're saying there is a school closed because of cyclone or because of the rains and all. We are taking the school. I don't think there's 1 or 2 days of missing school really makes a lot of difference. But that's continue. That cannot be an excuse for using the screen and all. So I think Dr. Thamboli can take this ahead and really create a pressure group representing the government to stop that at least till age of maybe primary school or maybe up to the 7th standard or something. Because habits are formed predominantly in that age. If you really take care of your children in that age, later on it's not really very easy to get into that. I mean, that's my take on the subject. You can give the comments on that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sanjay Pakmode, sir, you want to add
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. Mahesh sir has rightly pointed out, we are blaming the children for the use of social media, but are really means neither parents are working as role models. They are doing all the things with the mobile, and how you expect when your parents are doing, he will copy you only first. So everything begins at home. And the next, as sir has said, the school authorities nowadays they are thinking as if they are teaching, they should teach all the 7 days. If they are given the 1 day, if the collector declare holidays there, what is wrong in it? Give him the holiday, and there is a n number of periods are there, and a number of days are there who can teach the whole curriculum. And there is no need to take the extra classes. They start in the beginning 8 o'clock, they get up and then start online classes. So means really we are post COVID, everybody has thought this is the very easiest and very it's a very easy way of doing the things, and everybody has adopted that. Some on the positive side, we got some positive effects because of it, because like the Zoom meeting we are arranging, we could save them a lot of money and all those things. But as far as those children are concerned, there's no need of going for the online classes and sending the homework. Why don't they write down in the classes only what is the homework? Initially they used to dictate, write down, this you have to do, this you have to do, this. A very good way. I used to remember ki haan mujhe ye karna hai. Right now they send it. So he watches. He tells the excuse, no, the school has sent on the mobile, I'll read the mobile. So give me the mobile. And then automatically they will be curious enough what to do the next. So that is in there. And in the wards also you see, sir has rightly said, in the OPD, you want to examine a child or a baby. Why they say the baby should not cry. I tell them, who said the baby should not cry? I always tell them the lungs get cleared because of it. Don't worry, let them cry. So the one parent will remove the mobile from his pocket and show it once something music going on and all those things. So want to keep and engage a child. They want no child should cry. Same thing in the waiting period also, you are doing the same thing. So ultimately it is we from the beginning telling them how to use mobile, and then later on at the age when he starts going to the school, we tell them now you should not use mobile. So म्हणजे गर्भातच धडे दिले जातात. Nowadays I tell them, you start saying you're using mobile when you conceived. Now how do you expect your child after coming out will not use mobile?
That's why, sir, I just emphasize on media education, which is media policy for that. So it is very important that we should come up with the media policy for the age from 0 to 18 years, and then we should implement with the training of the parents. So that is the solution which I feel, because banning the media is not a way, and it will not help. I mean, Australia they have done, but let's see how the results will be in a near future. But I think banning is not the way. It is a media education which is going to be helpful.
Yes, thank you so much.
And one more, madam. And
Dr.
Vaibhav and
Darshana?
Smita madam has done the wonderful job. Actually, MGMIS Institute is a very good institute, ma'am. I love that particular institute. Anybody who will ask me to where to take the admission, he comes after the NEET appearing. I said, go to the MGMS.
Yeah.
Wonderful institute, wonderful teachers, wonderful environment. And one thing I'll notice, I had a habit of seeing the discharge card of the hospitals, whether they are the government institutes or the private hospitals. I see to it, one of the beautiful thing I have observed in the discharge cards of the MGMIMs, they are mentioning each and every little thing in it. And once you read a discharge card, the baby is born over there, and one patient comes for the first time to you, you read a discharge card, you get the whole information. And I love to copy it. I said, this should be the discharge card. And that is the ideal discharge card it should be. So MJIMS rocks. I mean, it's the beautiful institute.
Yeah. Our guide, Dr. Nimend Mohanty sir, is requested to give his comments about the selection of articles which we are doing. And I could see Dr. Amol Pawar also has joined. His comments
Yes,
also are
yes.
invited.
So
No,
thank
I
you,
was just
Chitra ma'am. Yes.
Niman sir, please. Niman
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you, Chitra ma'am. See, these topics, as you see, everybody is excited. The topics are such that in the second topic, I was really scared that people may go to sleep because definitely theoretical, a little boring. Hai. But you see, the presenter has done such a wonderful job. He has kept everybody awake and keen. The message I will like, everything has been discussed. I suggest for the adolescent meeting of our Maha-EP in the coming year, we should keep a special session for this topic.
Definitely, sir.
Should keep
Point
it.
taken.
Yeah. Then we should also, in the antenatal clinics, the mothers should be sensitized. This one important thing. And every girl child before marriage, she should learn how to sing, learn by songs to make their child sleeping, but rather than switching to mobiles and throwing that mobile to the child and going for their on one work, household work. So they're in a lighter vein, I'm saying so, but see, we have seriously think all this practically what is happening in our society. We have such a huge pediatric association of this country. Every place is represented by our pediatricians. If you select one school in your own area and go to the school in the parent-teacher meeting day, you deliver this topic to the parents and the teachers. At least 3 months, once in 6 months at least. So at least the message will go. Sensitization will definitely happen. There is no other way. And of course, Sanjay Pakmore is a heavy responsibility. Now we should go to the government as a policy making mechanism. We should advise because no other people can tell the government with authority that please do this.
Sure, sir.
I will not
Dr.
take
Amol,
much of
yeah.
time.
Yes.
Please give your inputs. Yeah.
Speed is
We
more.
could not hear you. We could not hear you.
The speed is high.
It's very
Yes.
fast. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, now. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So both the topics were good. I could not listen first topic, but after I heard Sanjay Pakmode sir, it was a very good presentation by Dr. Vaibhav and also Smita ma'am, as we all know about her credentials. And she was, I think, she was called in last 2-3 years once in on my IP platform as well. So, and the other topic I heard Sandeep Gaikwad sir twice in last 2 years on my IP platform. He's very good academician and thorough learner. Even if he is senior to us, but he keeps on learning the things from seniors like Suchita Amboli sir. And what to tell about Suchita Amboli sir, is the first PhD, first pediatrician who has got PhD from MUHS. And that's it. The program, the journal journey is very good. initiative by Raigad IIP, and it comes on 1st of every month. So no one would like to miss this. And Nimen Monti sir and Chitra ma'am and Neha, these three of us are very much behind Maha IIP for continuing this program. And also Raigad IIP under Dr. Vikas More sir and Ajay Koli sir, they have done wonderful this thing, and they have given free hand to Dr. Chitra ma'am, Neha as well. And the selection of topics from Nimen Monti sir is always good and very apt topic he chooses, and he always guides all of us. Thank you. Actually, I'm in delivery call, so I have to go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any questions in YouTube? Pallavi ma'am? Pallavi ma'am, could you see any parallel questions in YouTube?
No, madam, there is no question in YouTube.
Okay. Shall we wind up now, sir? So it's already, we have crossed our time. It's nearly 10:27. So I thank all the experts, stalwarts who have joined today, as well as the experts, Dr. Smita Jategaotkar madam and Dr. Suchit Tamboli, for giving their valuable time and expertise for all the pediatricians in Maharashtra and around Maharashtra as well. We are having the viewers from Gujarat and Karnataka as well. We are proud of that. And our presenters, Dr. Vaibhav Deshmukh, who has done extremely well. And what to say about Dr. Sandeep Gaikwad? It was a whole new chapter to be learned, and everybody enjoyed his presentation. I think he should share his presentation in the group also, so that those who have missed can again go through it and learn again. Thank you so much, Pallavi ma'am, for her invaluable support to continue for our Maha IIP and Raigad IIP journal journey. Thanks a lot, and happy Dashera to all.
Thank you, madam. It will come on the Maha IIP YouTube channel soon, madam, because this has been recorded. So this will be then everybody who has missed the session, they can watch that particular session, because these are excellent today, excellent sessions today, both by Suchit sir and Smita ma'am, and as well as by Dr. Sandeep and Vaibhav.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy Dasara to all.
Yeah,
Okay.
happy Dasara.
Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Happy Dasara
Ma'am,
to
good
all,
night, sir.
everyone, sir.
Yes, sir. Good night, Sandeep. Good night, Chitra ma'am. Good night, Neha.
Happy Dasara and good night.
Good night, my sir. Good night, my
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah. Stop the recording, ma'am.